It's fascinating how the mind works. How some people, they can walk into a room and without even trying, shift the energy. Like a single candle in the dark, effortlessly changing everything around it. And you might start to wonder, what makes that possible? Because there's something about the way the world bends around certain people. The way they speak, the way they move. As if they understand something most people don't. And maybe you've already noticed. The moment you begin to think about that, something inside you is already shifting. Like when you hear a song you hadn't heard in years and suddenly you're back there, feeling, smelling, knowing a memory you didn't even realise was still with you. Because the mind is like that, isn't it? It remembers things you forgot you knew. And it learns things you didn't even realise you were learning. And as you begin to notice that now, it's interesting, isn't it? How change can happen before you ever recognise it's begun. Like when you're watching someone tie their shoes, simply effortlessly. But have you ever thought about how they learn? At first it seemed impossible, confusing, and then, one day, something just clicked. They didn't have to think about it anymore. It became a part of them. Just like beliefs, just like patterns, just like the way your mind is already absorbing exactly what it needs to. Because really, all learning is like that. The first time you rode a bike, you wobbled, maybe fell, but something inside you knew. If you just kept going, you'd get it. Isn't it funny that back then, you never stopped to wonder what you could, you just did. And the moment you stop questioning if something is possible, it's amazing how quickly you find how it is. And you might begin to notice that the same patterns, they apply everywhere. The way some people can walk into a negotiation and instantly have control. Not because they force it, but because they understand something most don't. They know the words that open doors, the phrases that shift perspectives. Like a magician who doesn't just do tricks, he creates the illusion of possibility. And once you've seen it, once your mind has experienced that shift, you can't unsee it. Like a puzzle that suddenly makes sense. And isn't it fascinating how that kind of shift just happens? Because somewhere deep down, something in you has already begun to adjust. A new pattern is forming, a new way of thinking, moving, responding. And the best part, you don't even have to try, because it's happening all on its own. And if you had to notice just one way this is already unfolding for you, what would it be? Because it's fascinating, isn't it, how the mind works. How the right words at the right time, they can unlock something inside you. Like turning a key in a door that you didn't even know was there. And once that door opens, something shifts. A new way of thinking, a new way of seeing, a new way of being. Because you've seen it before, haven't you? That moment when someone steps onto a stage, speaking a few words, and suddenly the entire room is captivated. Not because of what they say, but how they say it. The rhythm, the pauses, the way each word slips past the conscious mind and leads deep inside, planting seeds to grow into something new. Like a story you once heard as a child. One you didn't fully understand at the time, but somehow it stayed with you. And now looking back, you realise it was never just a story. It was a lesson, a pattern, a blueprint for something bigger. And patterns are everywhere, aren't they? The way birds instinctively know how to migrate, how to move effortlessly across vast distances. The way a dancer doesn't have to think about each step because the movement has become part of them. And the way your mind is already absorbing, integrating, learning, without even trying. Because the truth is, all mastery begins in the unconscious. Like driving a car. At first you had to think about every little action. Press the pedal, check the mirrors, turn the wheel. But now, you just do it. Your body knows, your mind knows. And isn't it interesting that influence, persuasion, and effortless communication, they work the same way? Like the way some people can walk into a room, say almost nothing, and yet everyone listens. It's not magic, it's not luck, it's understanding. a deep knowing of the words that shift emotions, the gestures that build connection, the pauses that create anticipation. It's the difference between convincing someone and guiding them towards the realization they already wanted to have, because the best persuasion, it doesn't feel like persuasion at all, does it? It feels like truth, like something you always knew, but never put into words until now. You might begin to wonder how much more can change once you start seeing the patterns beneath the surface. Because it's already happening, isn't it? Like a new language forming in your mind. The way a musician doesn't just play notes, they feel them. The way an artist doesn't just see colours, they experience them. And the way your mind is already rewiring itself, aligning with something bigger, something inevitable, something undeniable, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And if you had to guess, just guess. What's already shifting for you now? What would it be?